I let me calm myself down first, please. Thank you. Let me please calm myself down first, please. Thank you. I hate this so much. 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 Yeah, see you later, Xanart. I hate this so much. I hate this so much. Just so you know, I don't know. I do not know what will happen to my internet between now and the intended end time of the stream. I do not know. So if it interrupts again, I'm sorry. It is what it is. Okay? All I know is that I'm going to give a proper word to my ISP. I'm going to ask them what's up. I'm going to ask them what is up. I can't even finish my talk without OBS has disconnected, restarting, reconnecting. I'm done with this piece of crap. I'll find out soon enough what happened. They're not getting off scot-free, this bunch of pathetic... This bunch of pathetic pieces of trash who can't even run an internet service provided properly. We're just gonna finish this. I don't think I want to talk about the Twitch thing until tomorrow. I really don't want to talk about... This is getting too tiresome already. We will finish this, and I hope we can finish this before the internet breaks again, as I expect it will. We'll finish this. You have no idea what you would even do. All you want to do is have a chokehold on everybody and everything you don't like. You know you're going to lose support of literally everyone who hates the authoritarian left, because no one likes being told what to do. You are a do-nothing rather than undo the illegitimate Supreme Court legislative decision which overturned federal law which has been in place for almost 100 years. There are plenty of illegitimate Supreme Court. Then reverse it. Stop arguing with people online and reversing the fool. Go on, do it. Go on, do it. Go on, do it. Do anything you want to justify your own bad optics. Anything you want. I'm a leave me alone kind of person that put a boot on everyone rather than a put a boot on everyone's throat kind of person. And here we go. 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 And yes, society was better with the boot. That is you. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Justified all you want. This broken internet is putting me in the worst mood. So I'm sorry if my filter is a little bit cut off from its usual supply. Go ahead. Say it loud, say it proud. You want to ban everything you don't like? Go ahead. America lived under the boot for nearly 100 years. You are defending women's lib movement and trash like this because of my freedom. You don't believe in freedom? Is that right, David? You don't believe in freedom? You don't believe in freedom. Don't pretend you do. Don't create excuses about how this is not free speech. It's different when we do it. Don't give me pathetic excuses. Don't give me a pathetic excuses. Evidently, if a lot of people are going against you, it means you are the minority culture. I'm not going to be kind to you. I'm not in the mood to be kind right now. I'm going to be blunt. You Pat Yao are the laughing stock of your own country. Pathetic laughing stock. People see you and they laugh. People say you and say shut up. And if they're nicer, they'll say your ideas are bad and explain why. I'm sorry. I have no more self-control to give you, but it is what it is. Pathetic. Pathetic, pathetic, pathetic. You do not even have any power right now. Pat Yao like David, you do not have any power right now. And you're going along pretending you do. How about this one? Stop using Pat Yao when you don't understand the Pak Jor. It's not about authoritarianism. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. How many times are you going to say no when you know for a fact it is a yes? Do you think the Chinese care about censorship or authoritarianism? No. And why you want to match them? Why do you want to match mainlanders? Why do you want to match mainlanders? I thought you're better than them. You always love talking about how you are better than them. You love talking about that, don't you? All of you, but you love talking about how much you're so much better than the leftists. You keep talking about that. You are more principled. You are more moral. You are for free speech. You are the better person. And when push comes to shove, you say, they are doing it too, so why can't we? So, what aboutism again? You Pak Choi and Payao, you're like all the same. You're being more and more all the same to me. Really. More and more of the same. And now I get back to this part. And this is an important thing I want to talk about with them. This part. Where is it? Where is it? This part. The Supreme Court thing. I have decided to expand on it. Before the stupid internet interrupted me, I said I wanted to expand on this, and I'm going to expand on this. So I'm going to open a PowerPoint. I'm going to create some templates. Alright? So slow. Everything is so freaking slow now with my internet, and I hate it so much. Let me just look through some things. I'll be back with you shortly. I'm going to set up my what's that thing called? I'm going to set up my my thing. Let me check. Okay, found it. Good. All right, we're going to go into the deep delve of what the Payao are trying to accuse. This is their excuse for saying that prawn is not free speech. This is their excuse. The Supreme Court did bad. This is their excuse. Specifically, the case of Miller v. California, 1973. Are you following, Lucas? Are you following me along? I hope you are. What is the case of Miller v. California? Well, it is the case that sets up it is the case that basically cements, to an extent, the idea of freedom of expression. It further cements it as the idea of freedom of expression. Damn it, not this. I've got to turn that off. This is the prop. Damn it. What it does is it creates, is specifically on the topic of pornography, is specifically on the topic on prawns. So the whole idea is that it's basically giving the limits of free expression. Okay? That's what it essentially does. A lot of Payao are very, very upset over this Miller versus California Supreme Court case. It says, as long as a content is not deemed obscene, it falls under free expression, which is constitutionally protected. It is. I will show you something random that is. The pro-ban do not like this law. They do not like this law. And I will tell you why, okay? I will tell you why. It is something that requires a little bit of exploration in its legality, in the legal principles it creates. But I hope by the end of it you will understand the point being made. I will reduce the size a little bit more. It basically set up what is known as the Miller test. Which is a test that decides whether some content is deemed obscene and hence is not protected by the Constitution. The Miller test has 3 prongs, 3 questions, 3 elements, I would say. Three key questions that needs answer. The first one, let me just try recall what let me check. Let me try and recall first. I want to use its precise legal words so that no one is going to grill me about being inaccurate, okay? I'm going to find the precise legal words. Okay, the first one is whether the average person applying contemporary standards finds the work appeals to prurient interests, i.e. base. I would say base carnal in point. How do I describe prurient? Prurient, basically for the sake of it. Basically for the sake of it. Think about it that way. Whether work depicts sexual conduct in a patently offensive way. And of course, these are all based on the average reasonable person applying contemporary standards. And 3, whether the work lacks artistic value. These are the 3 elements of the Miller test. Not again. These are the 3 elements of the Miller test. Okay? And very important. For a content to be deemed obscene, 3 elements for obscenity. For content to be deemed obscene and therefore bannable, it has to meet all 3 questions with a resounding yes. That is the Miller test. And this is why a lot of Pakyao have a problem with this test. They hate this. And you know why they hate this? Because this 3-element test is impossible to meet. All 3 of 3. Here's the thing. Most pornography, the typical ones you see, whether it is of the drawings type, the off-brand type, or the real type, assuming of course they are all 100% done with consenting adults and made for consenting adults, most of them, if you want to apply this test, most of them usually can satisfy point 1. This is the easiest test. Most of them can satisfy point 1. This is the easiest test for sure. Because it's porn. It's pornography. There's no other reason for it to exist other than it is to satisfy the very specific needs of men and women. That's the first part. This is satisfied. But these two are when things get hard, especially this one. For instance, this one, the work lacks artistic value, for instance. Let's say you read a very dark, off-brand. So let's say the really common meme one is probably Metamorphosis from Shindo. I'm sure you all probably know about that one. That is the biggest example. So one is it might be able to satisfy point 2 because of the very things that happen in that specific off-brand. It can be very, I would say, twisted. Okay? I would say very twisted. But the thing is, at the end of the story, at the end of Metamorphosis, there is a point to all of this tragedy. There is a message to all of this tragedy. One wrong move in your life is going to destroy you forever. There is a point in all of it. You can say how offensive some of its depictions is, but at the end of the day, it has a message to convey, and it is a message that, if taken, can be considered artistic. So yeah, there's a good example for how the lack artistic value test can fail spectacularly despite satisfying 1 and 2. And if it does not satisfy all of the 3, it is not deemed obscene enough, and it is not deemed bannable. And you will see how hard it is to satisfy all 3 of these elements. And this is why the Pakyao are so unhappy about it. They know most, I would say, typical forms of porn. The most typical forms of porn, they will comfortably satisfy 1. They might even sometimes satisfy number 3. But the problem is that because those porn content, those type of content is considered, according to words of some people, typical, like the word typical, the word normal, the word common, it does not satisfy patently offensive, because by being patently offensive, it means it is uncommon. It means it is not accepted. But the problem is that the average person accepts this as typical content of this kind. It is not any more or less offensive. So again, satisfy number 1 could satisfy number 3, but can't satisfy number 2. So yes, in most cases, it is ridiculously hard for the Miller test to be completely satisfied. You'd have to take something so bad, for instance, snuff. For instance, those content that Smash players usually watch, for it to meet all 3 of these tests. Only at that point in time is considered obscene and considered bannable because it is not protected by the US Constitution. So yes. So my question to this Bat Yao is, what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it, Bat Yao? My question to the Bat Yao is, what are you going to do about it? What can you do about it? First and foremost, culturally and in the court of public opinion, in the court of optics, you are not going to get your support. I'm sad. Unfortunately for you, you are not going to get your support. Whenever you mention ban something, people are going to instantly sour over such a proposition. People hate when you restrict them over lawful content, otherwise lawful content. People hate it when you become the fun police. People hate it when you tell them what you can do and what you cannot do. Already, just like in the 2000s, culturally, you are on the back foot. Legally, what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? It's entrenched in the Supreme Court because of past precedents. As for ban, I will only ban the mass distribution only after a mass public campaign to gather public support. Good luck. Good luck. You can try. How are you going to gather public support? How are you going to ban mass distribution? let's not talk about banning mass distribution, because you're basically fixing a leak that never ends. But how are you going to get public support? You want to say it's bad for health, people still smoke. You're saying it's bad for health, people still drink alcohol. You're saying it's bad for health, people still eat fast food. How? And with the way some of these Batyao are saying, how they hate the Supreme Court decision, it almost gives me the idea that they want to spit on the Supreme Court and implement the ban anyway. That seems to me what they are planning, what they want. Alternatively, they can bring a case to the Supreme Court, spend obscene amounts of money probably, but of course it probably requires a lawsuit to exist first. Fund studies on the harmful effects. There are studies. We talked about the studies last week. Outright ban doesn't work, merely weakens consumption. It is delusional to believe that outright ban will work. Yes, but we restrict the limit corporate efforts on pushing it on people. How? The problem with these so-called studies is that it is like a pak chor in positions of academia conducting studies. Can you trust them? If you look at a person conducting a study that makes it as if that porn is really, really bad for you, horrendously bad, borderline on narcotics consumption, like some would love to compare. You think people are going to not dig up the academic who wrote that journal and find out what their obvious political agendas are? Just like those off and on people who make so-called reports about how video game violence causes real violence, you really think people will not dig into these academics and find out if they're making quack reports? That's not how it works. If studies do not show conclusively in an objective manner something is very harmful to someone, it doesn't matter how far and wide you spread it. People with brains will read it and identify its flaws. Here's the thing about it, also random about the whole being corporations pushing this on people. I don't see it. This is anecdotally, by the way. I'll preface this by saying it's anecdotal, but if I'm online, I do not see NSFW content unless I deliberately look for them. It is no harder or no easier to access said content. Let's give another big example, OnlyFans. For instance, OnlyFans. Everything is paywalled on OnlyFans. Everything. You would have to deliberately give an NSFW content creator money to access their content. Or you have to deliberately sail the seas in a non-legal manner to access that content. That requires deliberate effort. It is not being exposed night every single day of the day where you just by scrolling online. But then it's a whole different story. Easy to access it through websites still requires deliberate action by the person using the internet service. That's the point is being made. And also, by the way, random. I'm sure you probably already know this, but people online don't tend to take marketing from corporations seriously. People don't. They just don't. From my own observation, they don't. Especially places like OnlyFans or places like the Hub. People access those services and sites when they want to and require to. When they want to. They don't access the sites because of marketing from corporations. Corporations can try, but still, I am of a strong opinion that corporation marketing does not really do much to make a consumer any more of a consumer. They consume because they have personally decided to. I don't see any OnlyFans advertisements actually. For instance, since we're probably using the easiest example, OnlyFans, I don't see OnlyFans advertisements. And for those that have all those weird banner ads, it's usually on those sites with let's just say less than stellar reputations. Yeah, that's right, Lurker-chan. The only places where I ever seen shrimp ads is on shrimp adjacent sites. My goodness, my momentum is completely cut off because of those internet interruptions. If I want to continue about this topic, I'll continue it tomorrow. But for now, I want to see what else I want. I want to talk about Twitch, but I don't want to talk about Twitch. I don't want to talk about Twitch. Because it's relevant to today's stream as well. Firstly, let's start with Hassan. Mr. Heroic Socialist. Wrong. Mr. Heroic Socialist. Because of what he did to his dog, he's on a meltdown now. He's on a meltdown now, and when I saw this rant of his, let's just say I have a reason why he's put on the thumbnail.
I can't stand any of you dumb fucks in this goddamn chat. Oh my fucking god, I hate the left. I hate liberalism. I hate everything that's going on every single fucking day of the goddamn week. I hate my life. I hate fucking streaming. I hate socialism. I hate every single fucking person who thinks that the peak of activism is just being the most annoying, holier than thou, the most ultimately woke leftist. You did it. You did it. You have unlocked the fucking nihilism within me, okay? I am black-pilled. Nothing will ever get better. We are never gonna make it out. We can't even have a normal fucking non-hostile goddamn conversation on any of these issues. Everybody just simply wants to fucking chirp into the wind because they have no power and they recognize their utter powerlessness in the face of unjustifiable constructs that we fucking exist under.
Context. Hassan entered into this little Mr. Heroic Socialist enter into this little meltdown because a 40-month subscriber of him on Twitch paying him money for 40 months, imagine that, said, yeah, what you did to the dog was not really that good. I'm sorry. What you did to the dog was not good. You shouldn't be making excuses about it. And he went berserk. He started insult. 40-month sub. Dare to criticize him for 14. Not 14, 40. 40 gone through a 40. 40 months. 40 months subscriber. Gives him money for 40 months. And he went on and insulted what's essentially a very loyal fan of his. All because he said don't make excuses with what you did to your dog. And he created this tirade. I like how he says, oh my goodness, my life is suffering, my life is agony, I am so black-pilled, it will not get any better from this point onwards. Hassan, the heroic socialist, who is now a martyr and a victim. He says that in his $1 million mansion, he drives a Porsche everywhere he goes, lives the lap of luxury, buy anything he wants, eat anything he wants, have the best lifestyle anywhere he wants in the world. And he's talking about how oppressed he is and how black-pilled he is. Oh, please spare me. No parachute of pride, Hassan. You don't get to talk about how so-called oppressed you are, how black-pilled you are, how hopeless you are, how you are living a life of agony, a life of suffering, when you were born with a silver spoon in your mouth. Your parents showered you with money, showered you with privilege, living in the best houses, driving the fastest cars, eating the nicest food. Don't you to throw these words at everyone else who are trying to live day to day, working at a 9-to-5 job. Don't you dare talk about oppression. Don't you dare talk about how hard your life is. When the CEO of your streaming platform that you operate on gives you special treatment every single day. You can get away with saying the most heinous crap imaginable. And the worst you're gonna get is a weekend suspension. And just so happens when your weekend is over, your account is ready again for streaming. Spare me. It is a rich man tantrum controller. A very, very rich man. All because, remember, all this happened. You would have thought that he lost his parents over some kind of big atrocious incident, but no. The atrocious incident is a 40-month subscriber who has given him money for 40 whole months say that you should not treat your dog that way.
And the best possible fucking thing you can do is just be goddamn annoying, okay? Oh.
I think you're annoying, Hassan. I think you're very annoying. I hoped for a long time that you stop streaming. But evidently, we don't get what we want, do we?
Oh, God. Right when the reporter is asking you about optimism, I want to fucking...
And I love how Hassan added those emotes, those at the bottom left, those little stream assets. Trying to make it as if he cares so much about his dog. I saw those videos. Not just the original Kaya video. I saw the young puppy video. And I saw the Kale video as well.
I want to just shut it off, dude. I want to shut everything.
Hassan has never made himself look good, in my opinion. Never. Even during his Young Turks days, he has never made himself look good.
Everything off. I just want to go away. If I wasn't so goddamn stubborn, I would have a long time ago. Oh my lord.
Please, Hassan, please stop streaming. You say yourself you're so sick and tired of it. Can you stop? I'm sure a lot of people will be really happy to find out that you stopped.
Lord, dude. I 100% think you should someday go on sub-only mode. What do you mean? The most annoying people are literally like the 40-month subscribers.
Do you see that? Did you see that? Did you see that, lurkers? Do you hear that? This is... People love to throw the word entitled everywhere. People love throwing the word entitled everywhere. Especially the Pak Chor. But one thing, if you ever need to see the perfect representation of what is entitled behavior, look no further than Hassan. People give him money to talk on stream. Whatever he likes to talk about, he gets to talk about it on stream. whatever he likes. He gets to talk about it on stream. Anytime he likes, whatever topic he likes. He will never get banned. And this is the thanks he gives to people for giving him this privileged, cushy job where he gets paid at least $1 million a year. I want you to remember this, Lakers. He gets paid almost $1 million, even more than $1 million a year, to talk about whatever nonsense he wants to talk about at any day he wants.
The person that caused me to fucking spiral just now is Hidejo Offliner or whatever. And that is like a routine nuisance and an offliner in this community. Okay? He is a consistent voice of nuisance. Okay?
Imagine a hypothetical, okay? Imagine a hypothetical. You follow someone, a streamer, anyone. You follow a streamer, anyone, you support her or him so well, sub to him or her for years at this point. Years, literally years. 4 or 5 years. And he just comes out and say you are the embodiment of nuisance. Well then, give me that nuisance, Hassan. Give me that nuisance. Give me that loyal 40-month subscriber. Give me that nuisance. I'm sure a lot of streamers, a lot of VTubers, anyone would do a lot of things to get a nuisance like that. Who would pay you for 40 months straight? I am sure. You don't want him? Let us have him.
What are you talking about? The people that actually brick me, the people that actually cause me to fucking spiral out of control are always the people that have been in this fucking community for years, who never shut the fuck up. I have banned him before. It's literally just, like, I'm not even singling him out. He's just one example. But this happens all the fucking time, bro. Anyway. One of the worst aspects of like this kind of gathering online is that I think people don't behave like this in the real world. That's unironically what I was talking about. That's why I have so much hope for the future of America when I'm out in the fucking streets, right? Because I see grandparents and I see kids and I see regular ass folk that see right from wrong and they say, fuck this. What do you mean? You're just like kidnapping my neighbors. Get the fuck.
That kind of shows you the type of twisted morality that comes from the heroic socialist. He looks at people committing violence out on the street and he thinks that's good. He sees people who are basically ill-treating their own children, brainwashing them to be violent on the street, and he thinks that is good. Oh, because of what? What? The very idea is that you commit a crime, you have to be held accountable for it. That's why you're mad? That's why you say people who are protesting being held accountable for their own crimes and bad behavior is good?
Get out of here. And they protest. And that gives me confidence. And then when I go back to the internet and I get fucking yelled at by a bunch of screenager iPad babies who are 38 years old, who think that the most like radical socialist position is to constantly chirp in a fucking Twitch streamer's chat and hyper scrutinize everything and then like refuse to understand like broader points. Okay? Refuse to be open-minded. Then I'm blackpilled again. It's
Hassan, how many times, I don't know if you know this or not, but they give you money. For starters. Secondly, I also saw a video, a very interesting video a few days ago, where an ex-Hassan fan, a woman, she said that she wanted to leave Hassan's community and stop giving him money because he said some very disparaging things about women. And you know what his fanboys and fangirls do to this girl for expressing that? Threatening to do some very heinous things against her.
Virtually impossible not to be blackpilled if you're online all the fucking time. Everything that
Then stop being online, Hassan. I'm sure a lot of people will be white-pilled when you have left the internet. Go back to offline, Hassan. It's good for you, and if what you are saying here is to be believed, it's very good for you, and it's probably very good for us too.
that we do here is so bad. Is so fucking bad.
And of course, there was the last part. There's one more. There is one more. I'm going to just do it in passing. I'll continue just a little bit for tomorrow, but there's one more. Of all the people that we all know what happened, right? With Emiru, Dan Clancy, in his utmost wisdom, has decided to talk to Taylor Lorenz of all people. And his response is quite something.
Is the top priority. The challenge we face is a challenge in today's society. It's not limited to Twitch. It extends throughout our society. I do think that when you're live streaming, in many ways, since you control your community and you can ban people, you can make it so that those people that you don't want engaging with you and participating with you aren't there. Okay, it's very different. You know, when I use other short form content and people say all sorts of stuff, well, I can't stop that. But when I live stream, they basically don't bother me.
Later the same night, I'm not gonna drop names here because I wasn't there, so I didn't.
That's who they were.
But I had multiple people tell me that key Twitch representatives last night were out partying.
She's speaking about Dan Clancy himself, by the way. Was out partying at an influencer event while this was happening.
Sorry, my got posted. Again, thank God someone was filming, because otherwise I don't think Twitch would have said anything. So after that, I started getting a lot of messages. I'm responding to people, and my manager comes back to me and she's upset. She's like, okay, I've been talking to Twitch people and I'm really upset because I noticed a lot of negligence around the event and I'm not happy with the way that they're handling it now. And I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, well,
By the way,
it's the top priority. The challenge we face is a challenge in today's society. It's not limited to Twitch. It extends throughout our society. I do think that when you're live streaming, in many ways, since you control your community and you can ban people, you can make it so that those...
Dan Clancy is blaming Emiru for what happened to her. Long story short, he is blaming Emiru for what happened to her. And here's the thing though. Here's the thing that he either does not know or chooses to leave out. Emiru has her own bodyguard. who does his job properly in the past. TwitchCon banned her bodyguard from attending and doing his job on site. Emiru instead is assigned a single Twitch bodyguard who does nothing. In fact, does absolutely nothing when the incident happened until it happened. And that's very stupid too. You can control someone in your chat, sure, but is it going to stop them from meeting up with you IRL? And also on the second point, I recall some lurkers have told me that if you are a content creator attending TwitchCon, you are, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I recall, and I think Pippa talked about it too. You are contractually obligated to interact with the audience in the events. So you can't escape it. Firstly, Emiru could not escape interacting with the crowd because she's likely contractually obligated to do so. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I'm not wrong. Secondly, to compound the problem of the first, she does not have her personal bodyguard that she relies on to take care of her. Instead, she has to rely on an incompetent Twitch security who did nothing until it was long over. And thirdly, the person who assaulted Emiru was initially left off the hook. He was just escorted out, and that was it. Emiru asked Twitch, according to her, what are you going to do with him? Oh, we just gave him a 30-day ban on Twitch. Are you serious? Are you serious? Again. No parachute of pride. Dan Clancy, you do not get to blame Emiru for what happened to her. It is your event. It is your policies, and it is your policies that restricted her from bringing her own bodyguard. And it is your policies that placed her in that situation. So don't go blaming her for something you primarily contributed, if not solely contributed towards. And apparently, he also stole her pen. Some people zoom in on the video. Some people zoom in on the video. They thought he brought a knife, but it was not a knife. He stole her pen. The guy. As he was assaulting her, he stole her pen that was in her hands. And it's a shame. There are only really two lady Twitch streamers, two female Twitch streamers that I kind of am okay with. The first one is, I'm not sure if I remember her name. It is a, do you remember there was a streamer who I can't remember. There was a streamer who had Tourette's. Sweet Anita, yes. Last time I used to watch a few of her streams. partially because of the entertainment, but later on it's like she's pretty okay as a person. And then the other one was Emiru, which I don't mind. Everyone else I do not like. So only only the two female Twitch streamers I watch. Well, I watch a bit, some clips, maybe a bit of streams, but that's about it. Is Anita and Sweet Anita and a bit of Emiru, but I don't even watch that much Emiru, but I don't mind her as much as I mind people like Pokemon and Valkyrie and all those. But either way, whatever you think about Emiru, she did not deserve any of that happened. No one does. No one does. Make no mistake. And all the blame goes to Twitch. It is their event. There is no excuse. There is no excuse. No amount of blaming Emiru's audience is going to change the fact that it is your fault. So yeah, this was extremely bad behavior. And as it happened, he is not taking this seriously. He is not taking this seriously. And I am surprised that Jeff Bezos has not done anything to Twitch and to Dan Clancy. I am shocked. I am shocked. I do not know why. What does Dan Clancy have on Jeff Bezos? For some reason, Jeff does not touch Twitch in any shape or form. Twitch is not making Jeff any money. In fact, it's creating scandals after PR scandals for Amazon and for Jeff. In a regular situation, Twitch will either be completely gutted by Amazon, or at the very least there is a new CEO, but for some reason, nothing happens. But still, Jeff P is a smart guy. Jeff is a smart man. He should be smart enough to know that Twitch is being a PR liability at its current state. And the source of this PR liability can be traced back up to the CEO. He needs to get rid of the CEO, but he does not for some reason. And that also baffles me. Twitch is undeniable as a streaming platform, honestly. Undeniable. It is a solid streaming platform. If you discount its horrifying moderation standards, and if you discount its horrifying CEO, it, as a platform, it has a reason to be there. Hello, electronic controller, that's fine. You know what's the funniest thing about? What is the funniest thing? I don't watch Twitch VTubers. I don't watch Twitch VTubers, and in fact, I was not even active on Twitch until I debuted. Which means that if I start watching Twitch VTubers, it's probably because I started streaming on Twitch. I usually only watch VTubers on YouTube. I only go to YouTube. And you know me, Suzuhara Lulu, she's always on YouTube. I have no reason to go to Twitch. Most of the VTubers I watch are on YouTube. Ugh. Rena, shut up, please. Okay, I'm gonna save the rest for tomorrow, Lucas. The scuffs have drained my energy more than I can say. Anyway, what am I going to do now? I've got like 20 more minutes. I have roughly like 20 more minutes until the stream, until I'm done with the day. Oh yeah, by the way, lurkers, since you are here, I can maybe make a bit of an announcement, okay? Let me just tentatively, lurkers, tentatively. What's the date? Let me check the date. 24. All right. Where is it? Okay. Not again. There we go. I can make a stream this Friday. Okay? Tentatively. And it will be an afternoon morning stream. Morning stream. It'll be a morning stream. It'll be same like today. Okay? Same like today, Lucas. It will not be a night stream, it'll be a day stream, okay? No. Day stream. Darkness, day stream. But of course this is tentative, and I have to be very I'll be more certain, and I'll keep you updated if any plans change. But for now, afternoon stream. Oh, it's afternoon. What time is it? Damn I can do morning. Morning, I'll still do the morning, yeah. Same time as well. So, it is 给我看, 给我看, 给我看. So it's 9 a.m. UTC plus 8 or 9 p.m. EDT. Okay? What? No, it's not. It's not muted. "给我看" mean hold on a moment. Let me see. "给我看" just means let me see. Thank you, George. So you lurkers are doing this again, huh? You're just doing this again, aren't you? Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell button, or else something will happen to you at 3 a.m. tonight. $5 a month. Are you going to sleep already, OP? Still have a few minutes. What do I want to do in the last few minutes? Let's watch a video in the last few minutes. I'm going to play games tomorrow. Let's watch another video for the last few minutes. 给我看, 给我看, 给我看. Anything nice to watch? Let me see if there's anything nice to watch. 给我看, Denicia. I'll talk about Helldivers tomorrow as well. Any nice games? Let me see. Beta Decay. Has it have any updates yet? Silence. Horrible, horrible silence. Is this worth watching? Let me see.
Let's be honest, indie games crash and burn every year. Hyped promises, big ideas, and then nothing. But every once in a while, something shows up that makes you stop scrolling and think, wait, is this actually real? That's Beta Decay, a cyberpunk RPG being built by just one developer.
I want to play this game.
And it looks like it's trying to outdo games made by entire studios. Shipbuilding with actual wiring systems, full mech combat, permadeath clones, and even a living economy. This isn't just another early access dream. This could be the most ambitious indie project ever attempted. Big studios usually spend half a decade and hundreds of people making a single blockbuster RPG. Teams of specialists handle everything from environment art to physics engine.
I really love the look of Beta Decay. It is like a merge. I recall there is another game that looks like this. It's like a merge of MGS1, Siphon Filter, and also a little bit, especially in the gore, in the way it handles blood and gore, Tenchu, the original Tenchu on PS1.
While millions of dollars back each step. Now imagine stripping all that down to just one person sitting at a desk, coding, testing, and designing alone. That's the challenge fueling Beta Decay. One solo creator is daring to aim at the exact same scale of games that normally come from companies the size of small cities. The big question is obvious. How is that even possible? How can one mind compete with hundreds working in sync? That
That's a good
tension
question.
is what makes this project feel so fascinating. The developer behind it doesn't appear to be interested in chasing something safe or manageable. Instead, his vision points straight at the impossible. With Beta Decay, he wants players stepping in.
He is like, is the same type of, there's the same type of intensity. I would say it elicits the same type of emotional intensity when I watch Kenshi for the first time. When I play Kenshi for the first time as well. It has that type of, it's that type of level of wonder. You are in a very big world, left to your own devices, and you just go. That was what I love about Kenshi. And I hope Beta Decay manages to pull this off. Be anything you want, be anyone you want, look like anything you want.
Into a sprawling cyberpunk world built not just for shooting or storytelling, but for complete interaction with the systems inside it. This isn't about throwing together flashy environments, it's about building a place that responds, breaks apart, and rebuilds itself under player control. He isn't just crafting scenes, he's building an entire framework for play. A core part of that framework is the voxel system. If you've seen games where blocks are used for destruction or construction, you already know.
And here is the thing also, voxel graphics is getting as oversaturated as 8-bit graphics. But I will not deny, if they use it properly, it has the potential to make their projects come true realistically. And I think this game does not need a more detailed graphic style. The PS1 voxel style is good enough.
Half the story. In Beta Decay, this system isn't just about smashing things apart. It doubles as the foundation for player creativity. You can rewire power lines, layer walls, or tear open a room in combat, and the same engine tracks it all. That makes every single corner of the world feel less like scenery and more like potential. Destruction is a tool, but so is restoration. The choice between the two sits in your hands. Overlay that with a cyberpunk skeptic, and it gets even more intriguing. The world isn't designed as clean corridors with shiny chrome. It feels messy, industrial, worn out. Buildings carry the sense of a place lived in, and every interaction sends ripples across the space. A city block isn't just a backdrop, it becomes an environment you might dismantle piece by piece or fortify until it stands like your personal stronghold. That reactive quality is rare even in big budget releases, and here it's being pulled off by a single developer. To see why this matters, think about how many indie titles push scale too far and collapse.
Projects with big promises often end up as empty shells, struggling with bland gameplay or unfinished worlds. But Beta Decay leans into systems that already look grounded and functional. That's what sets it apart from cautionary tales.
And what really does kind of keep me cautiously optimistic is that the devs keep showing gameplay. It's that simple. He keeps showing new updates, new gameplay, new tests. And that is what Fantastic, remember the day before, devs, well, quote-unquote devs, were unable to do.
It can be done. Take Stardew Valley. One developer poured years into it, with critics doubting anyone could reinvent the farming genre alone. Yet, it became a global success. That underdog story makes Beta Decay feel more like a daring attempt than a hopeless gamble. It carries the same spark, but aims much higher. This isn't a pie-in-the-sky dream floating around on concept art. From early footage, you can see real environments being torn apart, rewired, and rebuilt. That makes it easier to believe that players might not just test this game, but actually live inside it.
What happens when every mechanic you ever wished for in an RPG shows up in the same game? Most role-playing games focus on one big thing:
Some pour effort into combat, while others lean into storytelling or exploration. Very rarely do you see a title attempt to make every system run deep, and that's what makes Beta Decay stand out. Instead of picking one direction, this project seems to say, why not all of them? Take ship construction. It's not just about snapping together hull pieces. You're wiring up actual electrical systems. Power doesn't flow automatically. You decide how current gets routed through conduits and breakers. A careless setup might leave a wing unpowered and
Yes, Shadow Commander is basically... The closest comparison you can have is like, it is an immersive sim sandbox. Immersive sim combat sandbox. It's everything. It's hard to describe. The best real comparison is that it is a futuristic third-person / first-person Kenshi. That is the best. That is the best
in a
comparison.
fight, shutting down engines or weapons mid-battle. You're not just
No, even more serious than that, Yuria. If the pitch is even 1/3 accurate, it is already more detailed and large than GTA.
decorating a ship. You're engineering it, like a puzzle, where physics and electronics actually matter. That complexity carries over to the people on board. Keeping a crew alive means watching over oxygen levels, energy use, and the internal networks that control everything from doors to life support. If a reactor overheats or a circuit fails, the risk isn't just wasted parts. Your crew could suffocate or starve. Crew survival isn't handed to you. It's a constant balancing act. And once the shooting starts, the game doesn't fall back on ordinary point-and-click combat. Ballistics here respect physics in ways many shooters barely touch. Bullets aren't magic rays that hit instantly. They drop with distance, curve under
Well, to be fair, that's quite common, but
gravity,
go
and
on.
ricochet off surfaces depending on angle and speed. A firefight feels like a problem of trajectory and timing instead of just aiming at a health bar.
If guns aren't enough,
Step inside a mech. We're not talking about pressing 2 buttons for light attack and heavy attack. You get a cockpit with actual instruments, switches, weapon systems, countermeasures, and energy controls. Launching one into battle means flipping the right control.
Oh yeah, by the way, a bit of Arma as well. There's a bit of Arma in this, I cannot believe it.
Firing off flares to evade targeting, and managing heat so your weapons don't fry themselves mid-fight. Every battle feels like running a machine, not just piloting a vehicle. That mechanical depth doesn't end when combat is over. Your character still has to eat, sleep, and manage the wear and tear of survival. Strange anomalies dot the environment, requiring caution as much as curiosity. Resources must be gathered, rationed, and sometimes gambled away in dangerous conditions. Survival is never background noise. It's woven directly into how long you last in this world. And if you die, death really is permanent, but with a strange twist. Clone insurance lets you carry continuity forward by restoring your character through stored genetic backups. Unlike standard respawn systems, losing a body has weight, but your identity persists with whatever upgrades or losses you've carried until then. Overlaying it all is a living economy that runs in real time. Shady black markets trade in stolen goods, while above them sits an organized stock exchange with shifting values driven by player action. Instead of one feature taking the spotlight, all these systems combine into an ecosystem that feels alive.
Most indie projects that reach too far.
I mean, I'm so conflicted with this game. On one hand, seeing all this gameplay and demonstrations makes me optimistic that it exists. At the very least, it exists, and it's mechanically sound so far from what I've witnessed. But on the other hand, the dev's pitch worries me. The single dev's pitch worries me a lot. Those are mechanics that even 100-person team of devs will struggle will struggle to pull off. And one man?
Almost
I don't
always end the same way. They start with flashy trailers, bold promises, and mountains of ambition. Then they grind to a halt. The scale swallows them, or the developer burns out, or fans realize half the features don't actually work once the game is finally in their hands.
Yep.
That's the pattern we've seen before, so it's easy to be cautious when something as huge as beta decay comes along. But here's the twist. It isn't showing the usual warning signs yet. In fact, the build we've seen so far runs shockingly smooth. And the craziest part? The whole thing sits under a single gigabyte in size. For something that already shows destructible worlds, physics, and AI, that level of optimization is almost unheard of. You can...
That was a shocker to me when I found out. By the way, Lurkers, it is Unreal Engine 5. An Unreal Engine 5 game that, as of right now, even if it's in its incomplete form, is under 1 gigabyte. I don't know how this man did it. For all I know, he probably made a deal with the devil in the same way as the Codex Gigas type of mythology. To make this game possible, I don't know. I don't know. I do not know. Apparently, a bunch of people have access to the test versions of the game. You can trust those people, and you can trust the views, but I don't know how that's possible. Because if Beta Decay comes out, I get to try it, and it is actually a mega optimized, stable experience that I can play while I am streaming. This game might single-handedly change my opinions on Unreal Engine 5. But of course, that is a big if. I do not know. For now, I hear Unreal Engine 5, I get
You can
scared.
tell the community has noticed. Every time new footage drops, the threads on Reddit light up, Discord servers fill with screenshots and theory crafting, and gamers who normally never agree on anything start saying the same thing. Why does this one actually look legit? It feels less like vague hype and more like excitement backed by something real, which is rare in early stages of a game like this. Sure, it's not playable yet for the wider public, but players are already bookmarking it like they're preparing for a surprise hit. Of course, not everyone is sold. The biggest criticism sounds simple. Can one human being really finish a project this big?
Like I say, Lurkers, have you heard of the story of the Codex Gigas? Out of curiosity, Lurkers, have you heard of the story of the Codex Gigas? Let me write it down for you all. It is a very, very fascinating story. It is a very fascinating story. So, the mythology of the Codex Gigas is that, I'll just tell you in the story form, okay? It's an actual book. Well, to call it a book is a little bit of an understatement. It is a giant table-sized tome. A giant table-sized hardcover book. And it is basically a religious book. So it's basically like a book. It's like a glorified encyclopedia. A glorified religious encyclopedia. So the mythology of the Codex Gigas is that there was this monk. And he was basically condemned to die on the following day, unless he wrote a table-sized giant book that conveys all of the known knowledge in relation to theology, specifically Christian theology. In one night, he has to write it perfectly and legibly in one night. If he can do that, the church will pardon him officially, and he won't have to die. So the story goes is, there is no way a human can do that. No way at all. No way at all. What he did was he made a deal with a devil, basically. He made a deal with Lucifer, let's just say. He made a deal with Lucifer. Basically, all the usual yada yada. He haggles with the demon until they reach to an agreement. The demon, he will offer probably his soul or something along the lines of that when he dies. The usual stuff. Offer his soul in exchange for the demon assisting him to pen this giant book within one night. The demon agrees, but with an extra caveat. He will take his soul, but also he wants an illustrated tribute to the demon who helped pen this book. And that was the story of the Codex Gigas. The giant tome was created within one night, and in one of the pages a giant illustration of the demon that helped him write the book as a thank you, basically. So the way I'm looking at it is that Beta Decay reminds me of a Codex Gigas type of game, a scenario. How can one man do all of this? In a mere 3 years, by the way, it seems this is a project that has only been in active working for 3 years. How is that possible? How is that possible? I do not know. Love has honestly quite reasonable as far as demons goes. Yeah, that is very odd. It's very funny. I don't know. I suspect the only realistic thing I can suspect, other than black magic, is that this guy has been working on this for decades, but maybe with different engines or different assets or whatsoever. He's been working on it for a decade or so. And then now he was only decided to implement the systems into a game engine. That is my guess.
Even fans are asking the tough questions. There's a long list of promising games that raised expectations sky high and then crashed before reaching daylight. Just think of how many Kickstarter titles disappeared into silence after collecting money. The history of gaming is filled with reminders that passion alone isn't enough to guarantee success. At the same time, other indie games have made non-believers eat their words. We've seen projects dismissed as too small to matter end up drawing millions of players. Solo-developed hits like Stardew Valley or Undertale became landmarks because one person refused to cut corners. The difference with Beta Decay is the scale. It's not a simple farming sim or a story-driven RPG. It's an ecosystem of survival, physics, economy, and combat systems layered over each other. That scale makes the risks higher, but it also makes the potential payoff massive. And honestly, the previews aren't sticking to promises. They're already showing working features. You can watch AI crew members acting on their own, reacting to problems around them. You can see weather systems shift from calm to storms, whole environments shatter apart under weapons fire. These aren't teaser
I'm
ideas,
impressed,
they're live,
but honestly,
functional parts of the game that suggest the foundation
It's almost
is stronger
supernatural.
than skeptics might assume. Then there's multiplayer. Most indie games don't even attempt to get single-player systems stable in the early stages, let alone think about connecting people together. But Beta Decay is already talking about LAN servers, co-op options, and even PvP. That's the kind of detail usually left to major studios years into development. So when people describe Beta Decay as risky, they're not wrong. It could collapse under the weight of its own ambition, but the hype isn't running wild without cause. It's built around footage that shows a game already working beyond the usual smoke and mirrors. And that's why every preview feels harder to ignore than the last.
Beta Decay is a gamble, but that's exactly what makes it fascinating. One developer is building the kind of game most studios wouldn't risk, and that ambition is the pure spirit of indie gaming. It's not about safe choices, it's about trying something bold, even if it might fail. If you're even a little curious, wishlist it, join the community, and follow the updates. Watching this journey unfold feels like being there for the start of something rare. Whether it becomes a masterpiece or fades away, Beta Decay is already proving that one indie title can reshape the conversation.
Yeah, the Codex Gigas of video games to me. Really. I think that is a very apt analogy. My goodness. I am absolutely exhausted for today. So Lucas, I think I will end the stream for today. Okay, I'll end the stream for today. So tomorrow again, I cannot believe this is considered early. I have had a horrible experience with my internet today, and I'm tired. I am so tired. So again, Lurkis, I will be back with you. I already deleted. Anyway, I will be back with you tomorrow on Twitch. Okay? It will be on Twitch for some DMCA stuff maybe, and a bit more talking and maybe a bit of gaming. I am completely exhausted today. More exhausted than I thought I'll be, but anyway. Talked a lot. Talked a lot for basically... Let me see, what time did we start? 4.5 hours. 4.5 hours. For 4.5 hours. That's a decent enough length. Anyway, again tomorrow same time. 9 a.m. or 9 p.m. depending on where you are. Okay? So I will conclude the stream and let's see if I can raid anybody. Stick around for a while until I see whether I can raid anybody. Can I raid Pink Woman? Let's see. Can I raid Pink Woman? Does she allow people to raid her? Does she allow people to raid her? Let me have a look. I doubt she will, but it's worth checking. Oh yes! Yes! Splendid! I can raid Pink Woman. That's amazing! Is she live right now? Yes, she's live right now. Okay. I can rate Pink Woman. I can rate Pink Woman. Anyway, Lurkis, thank you for dropping by. And let me just set a few more settings properly first.
To the fire.
Okay, yes, she's online. Anyway, Lurkis, Thank you for dropping in today and sorry for the mega scuffs. It was horrible. I'm sorry. And I'm still mad. I'm still very mad. But thank you all for dropping by again after so many interruptions. I will see you all tomorrow and I hope that there's no more interruptions tomorrow. Okay? Thank you, Leckers, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.